Hi guys, welcome back to the part 2 of this series. In the part 1 we saw how to make these shapes in Adobe After Effects. So in this part I will show you guys how to animate these shapes like this in Adobe After Effects using just keyframes. If you are new to Adobe After Effects, I will give you a small introduction how to make keyframe animation in After Effects. If you are already familiar with After Effects, you can skip this portion and go straight to the animation portion. In this entire animation, I have used three features of Adobe After Effects. Number one, keyframe animating transform parameters. Number two, keyframe animating shape parameters. Number three, linking child object to parents and animating the parent object. Okay guys, let's look at each of them one by one. As you guys can see in here, I have created a shape, and the black area in here is the monitor size. It's actually the composition size. Whatever you see inside this black box will be the final rendered video. So you can animate an object inside the area, or even you can bring in an object from outside as well. Here on the left you see the layers, and on the right you will see the timeline. You can access parameters which are animatable parameters of this particular layer by pressing on this drop down icon here. Once you click on this drop down, you will see categorize parameters based on the layer type. The parameters you see here are different for videos, images and shapes. In our case we are using a shape layer, so you will see contents and transform options in here. You can see the individual elements of transform option by clicking on this transform drop down in here. So each of these category will have its own set of parameters, and you can animate or do modification to them by using these values. Also, if you want to animate them, you just need to click on this stopwatch icon in here. I will show you guys a simple animation, how to make a position animation by using these position keyframes in here. We are going to animate the circle left to right. So first thing what you need to do is create an initial position and press on the position stopwatch in here. Then move your timeline to the end position. Move the circle to the right, which will be the end position of the animation, and make a keyframe again. Press on the spacebar in your keyboard, which will make a RAM preview, and you can see the animation on the screen. That's all, our animation is done. Alright, so let's do another animation, but this time using the contents of the shape tool. So I'm going to draw another shape in here. This time I'm going to draw a polygon, and as you guys can see, when I draw a polygon, it will create a new layer with its own timeline. And when you open the layer content in here, again you will see the transform and the content. So once you open the content, you will see these settings in here, which is attached to this Polystar one, which is inside this shape layer. In our previous video I already explained what are these and how to work on these things in here. And also you can have multiple shapes attached to one shape layer, and each of these shape layer will have its own parameters like this in here. I'm going to change the size of these shapes by using the parameters of the content which are attached to these particular shapes, not to the entire layer. Okay, so now I'm going to make a keyframe for outer layers and bring it to the last keyframe and make it bigger. And now if you animate and see, our shape is getting bigger based on our keyframe animation. So it's same as earlier, just instead of using the transform, we are using the content settings inside the shape. Alright guys, so before we move in with the parent child link, one last thing I want to explain is the keyframe assistance. By default, as you guys can see in here as this diamond shape, speed of this animation is going to be constant, and if you go into the graph and see, it's just a straight line like this. And we also have different type of keyframes which will affect the speed of the graph, and you can customize and animate them based on your requirements. To change the keyframe type, right click on the keyframe and go to keyframe assistant and select easy ease. So once you select easy ease, you will see the keyframe shape, the icon also changing. Now if you go to the graph, you will see this curvy graph in here, which is not going to be constant, and you can customize the graph speed and make your own speed, make your own graph, and make the animation start slowly and faster, or slowly start and end slowly in between, make a constant line, or whatever you want. With these settings you can make more organic and unique animation, which we are going to use a lot in our actual animation of the cat. So you need to be aware of this part, and this is really important. A lot of animators use easy ease option for motion graphics or similar type of animation because it has some sort of organic feeling to it. Alright guys, please keep this one in mind, and I will explain this a little bit further more in our actual animation. Okay. Alright, next part is linking two objects shapes together and making one shape as a parent shape and animating that shape to affect the other shape as well. So this is really easy. By default, you already can see all the tools you need on the timeline in here. Basically, you will link an object to a parent object, and then whatever changes you make to that parent object will affect the child object. But still you can go into your child object and animate or make modification only to that child object as well. Alright guys, so let's start with our animation. The first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the child objects to parents first. So the first link is going to be linking the body with the head. So body is going to be the parent and the head is going to be the child. So now you can see when you make a movement to the body, it's only affecting the body. So let's link the head with the body. Alright, that's it. Now whatever changes you make to the body will affect the head as well. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same thing with the head now. I'm going to link ears, eyes and nose, all the object on the face as a child objects. Let's do that now. Ears -1 and ears -2 will be a child object of head, and then the mouth will be a child object, and face -1 and 2 both will be a child object of head 2 also, and the eye also a child object of the head. And we can ignore the front leg 1 and 2 and also back leg and tail as well. Last thing will be the nose. Alright, okay, so all the connections are done. Okay, so now if you make a change to the body, it will affect the head as well as whatever the objects attached to the head as well, because it will go with the hierarchy. Since our head is attached with the body, it will react to the body, and whatever the objects attached to the head will follow the same. Okay, so now we need to bring the anchor point of these two mouth shapes to the top center as well, same as we did for the body and the head. There we brought it to the bottom center, but for these I'm going to bring it to the top center. So let's do that first. I will go into anchor points and move them until you get these two center points aligned together, and this look fine. Alright, okay, so this shape is fine. I will do the same with the other shape as well. Unhide the face 2 and open the transform settings. You can open with this drop down and go to the anchor point and move the X and Y position until you get your center point exactly centered to the transformation point in here. Okay, I think this is okay. Now we have to move both of these objects same position as earlier. Make all the layers visible and move it to the correct position, which was somewhere around here. Looks good. Okay. Alright, so now start animating one by one. Let's go to the body and open the transform. Now first thing we are going to animate the scale. You can see all the transform options in here: opacity, rotation, scale, position, anchor point, everything. But we are going to work on the scale first. Before we start animating, make sure your X and Y link to the scale is deselected in here. After that, just go to Y position and let's start changing these values. At a start, click on this Y value and enter 110 and make a keyframe. Now go to 1 second. Go to 1 second and bring down the value to bring up the value to 125. Again go to 2 second. This time again bring down the value to 115. Go to the 3 second mark and copy the value from 2 second mark, which is 125. Go to the last frame. Now copy the value from first frame and paste it in here. You can select the keyframe and copy with Ctrl C and paste Ctrl V. You can preview this animation by tapping on the space bar. Alright, animation looks fine, but let's make it a bit more organic. Select all the keyframes and press F9 to convert these keyframes as easy ease. Go to the graph editor while all your keyframes are selected. As you guys can see in here, we have a smooth wavy graph in here. Let's adjust this graph to make this animation bit more organic. Before I change the value, if you are new to the graph, here we have two values for X and Y. X is shown in the red graph and the Y is shown in the green graph. As you guys can see in here, the same colors are applied to these values as well. Since we have not make any change to the X, you see the X value is 0 all the way from start to end. This is the speed graph, so there is no speed for the X. But for the Y, there is a variety of speed, which is going smoothly to the top and going down to the bottom. At the moment, it's look really smooth. I will modify this graph to make more realistic. In order to do that, I want to make this graph like you see in the screen. With this modification, what you will see is when it reaches to the keyframe value, it will slow down, but in between when it starts, it will be faster, so that the end results will look more like breathing. So I want the first one to be slower and the second one to be little bit more faster. So I will bring this one little bit more longer like this. Now you guys can see it's look more like breathing. You can play with this graph to get even more realistic results. Alright, let's close the graph and go back to the timeline. Now let's start animating the objects on the head. First I'm going to animate the mouth. First I press P, which will bring the precision. Make a keyframe in here. Go to first second and let's bring it up like this, little bit to the top. Alright, so I want to have two animation for this mouth. Let's open this one. I also want to make a scale, so I click on the scale and go to 1 second. Again, I only need to increase the X width. So let's increase the X width. Because the anchor points are not in the object, you will see the object is moving as well. Let's bring it in here. Since our position keyframe is on, it will record the position. As you can see, this is what we exactly wanted. Now we can go to the second and copy keyframes from the first second and paste it in here. Same, copy the keyframes from the second and paste on the fourth second. Now we can copy the first frame and paste it in the last second. Now select all of them, press F9 to make easy ease. Now let's go to the graph editor, but you will see a lot of graphs in here. Don't get confused, just follow the color. We only need to change this pink color line because that's where the positions are. All I need to do is bring this pointy like this so that we will have this smooth, slowly start first, then go a bit faster, then slow when it reaches to the end. So as you guys can see in here, when it starts slow, then faster, then slow, there will be a wobble effect there. That's what I exactly wanted. Just follow the graph like this. If you are confused, just select the pink, only the position. You can see the color code which are shown in the values in here. Just follow the values. Just make the graph pointy like this. Then we will have this wobbly effect. Alright, so it's looking alright. Let's play. Yeah, so this is what I exactly wanted. Instead of going smoothly straight line, I want this effect like this. Okay guys, so hope you guys done this part correctly. Let's close this graph and let's go back to the next portion. Now I want to animate this face -01, which is this selected portion. Basically what I want to do is when it reaches to the top, when the animation reaches to the top, I want this one to be smaller in scale, and when it reaches to the bottom, I want it to be bit more bigger. Alright, very simple animation. Let's start with the scale. Press on the scale, make sure your link is not selected. Make a keyframe and go to 1 second and make the size smaller, X, and maybe little bit more Y, also little bit more X and Y. Now copy the keyframe from the first second and paste it in the third second. Go to the fourth second, copy from the first second and paste here, same as earlier. We just copy and paste, and the last one we copy from the first second and paste in the last second. We copy the first second and paste it in the third second, and we copy the 0 second and paste it in the last second. Alright, so it will go up and down. Next part is mouth -02. Let's open up this one. First thing what I want to do is I want to apply the same color as mouse 01 for this one. So open up the fill inside the content and let's select the color from here. It had apply with darker tone, but it's fine, later we can change because we need to see again for the other circle also. I apply this color. Alright, okay, so let's close this one, and if you animate, now we have this effect, but eventually both of these colors will look the same. Then it will look like a seamless object. Phase 01 and phase 02 will going to look like one object animating, but before that, let's start animating the eyes. Okay, so open the eyes and go to trim paths, which we added earlier, and open the trim path, and we can move the path by start and end positions in here. As you can see, when we move the percentage, the paths are moving as well. So the starting point, let's have like 45. When it reaches 1 second, change this value to 50. Again, when we go to 3 second mark, let's add 42 or 48. Then 3 second mark, again I will change this to 50. And for the last frame, I copy from the first one, which is 45. Select all of them, press F9 and change to easy ease. Let's have some values for end position also. Let's make this one 90. Go to 1 second and change this to 100. Again I will do the same in here. 90 again, 90, maybe 95, and here 100 again. And we go to the last frame, same as the first frame. Let's change this to 90, 95. Third one should be 100 again, and select all of them and make them as ACEs. Alright, so eyes are done. Let's move on to ears. We are only going to animate ear -1. There is only one animation in here. First, let's bring this one a bit more bigger than the other one, and taller than the other one actually. And let's go to 2 second and make a keyframe, and 10 frames later, bring it closer to the other ears, and 10 frame later, copy and paste the first keyframe, and then make them as easy ease. That's all for ears. Let's close this and go to the tail. They are also similar to this one. There is only one animation. Let's go to the tail, open position, make a keyframe in here. Anywhere you want, you can create this animation actually. And go 10 frame later, bring this one behind, and 10 frame later, copy and paste the first frame and make them as easy as again. Let's do the same with the front leg, the top leg. Select this one, press on P, open the P for position, make a keyframe in here. Again, bring it behind a bit like this, make a keyframe, go 10 frame earlier, select the last one and paste it in here. So we will have the loop. Select all of them, make it as a keyframe, and you can keep anywhere this animation in your timeline. No need to be in a specific place. Now you can see all the animation together. Looks cool. Let's go back to the mouth to circles area, phase 02. Select this one, press on P, which will bring the position, and make a keyframe in here. Go to 1 second and bring it towards below, towards y-axis. Now go to 3 seconds and now bring it up towards y-axis, and let's go to the 3 second mark, and again let's bring it maybe up a bit like this. Alright, now copy the first keyframe on the first frame and paste on the last frame. Now select all of them, make them as easy ease. Open the fill of these both objects, open the fill color, then select the color same as the background rectangle color. Copy the rectangle color from the background layer, background shape, and paste them in here. Last part of this animation is making this tail and the ears bit more natural. So select the tail, right click, go to effects and presets, go to distort and select CC bend it. This is a default effect, so you don't need to worry about plugins. Go to start point and click on the start point where you want to start the bend, which is in here. Again, go to the endpoint, select this in here and bring it almost a little bit further away from the shape like this. Now press on the P, go to the animation, go to the first frame of the animation and go to the effect, click on the bend it keyframe. Now bring to the center animation, center keyframe and adjust the bend until you are satisfied with your shape. Maybe I will make this as 55. Now go back to the last frame and let's make this one 0. Alright, that's it. Now you will see while the tail is moving, you will have this nice bend as well. Alright, so let's close this and let's go to the ES, select the ES. Now you can just straight away right click on the effect window, right click and go to distort and select the CC bend it from here. Again click a starting point which will be in here and the end point will be little bit further away from the top like this. Now again press on P, which will bring the keyframes and select the first animated keyframe and make a keyframe for bend. Go to the center position and let's start bending it. I think other way around. Yeah, maybe 180 should okay. So I will key in 180, 180. Again 10 frame later, when the animation is finishing time, we will bring it back to 0 position again. Alright, that's it guys, our animation is done. Let's run preview and see. Press on the spacebar, which will start rendering first, then you will see the animation in real time. Alright guys, that's it. This is our end of animation and you can make this one even more realistic and more interesting as possible. This is just a basic stuff I try to teach with this animation. Hope you guys, if you are new to Adobe After Effects, learn some new stuff from this. And thank you for watching and see you guys in the next tutorial.